Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Red Raptor Writes. Over the years, I've seen requests to give my thoughts on the video game LEGO Jurassic World, 10 years after its tie-in release with the first JW film, and having just gotten through Rebirth, now is the best time to finally discuss it. Like other LEGO releases, this was developed by Traveler's Tales, or more specifically TT Fusion, and released on basically every platform available during the 8th console generation. At the time, it received many middling reviews, not a travesty, though definitely far from the greats. But reviews have been wrong before. I'm surprised IGN didn't say too many dinos or some crap. Us Dinosaur/Jurassic fans got a full Jurassic Park trilogy LEGO game, yet it's left no noticeable mark on the community. Isn't it weird? Maybe I'm looking in the wrong places, but there's seemingly been no relevance past the month it came out. What should have been a ground-shaking release had no staying power. The answer to that is probably because LEGO Jurassic World is bad, at least in my opinion. My brother and I didn't like it during our playthrough 10 years ago. Now finally returning after a decade, I dislike it even harder. I know. Tim doesn't like something from Jurassic World. What else is new? Hey, to be fair, those first 3 seasons of Camp Cretaceous were nice, along with JWE 2. So you know I'm not bent on hating the new stuff. So much from the past decade just happens to stink. And we can add this video game to the list. Before we move along like you know we do, while making this video, a new LEGO Batman game was announced, which I haven't played the previous ones all that much, though as a big Batman fan I am excited for the announcement. We can reframe this video. Instead of me just going on about what doesn't work for this game, yes, let's look at the problems, but find some solutions and see where Traveler's Tales can improve on in the future. Let's not make the same mistakes again, or make all new ones. So guys, after all this time, let's dig this up. I'm not an expert on LEGO games. My experience largely comes down to the good LEGO Star Wars, LEGO Marvel Superheroes, LEGO Force Awakens, and the first LEGO Indiana Jones, which I haven't touched since elementary school. Even in my limited experience, LEGO games in the mid-2010s were clearly trying to improve upon the formula, rapidly modernizing with flashy new gameplay mechanics along with sprawling open worlds. Like John Hammond, they chased progress and advancement so hard they only asked if they could make changes instead of if they should. Many upgrades from their early titles feel like they're actively rotting the game, so much so that the solutions to many of the LEGO JW's problems can be simplified as,
wait a minute, strike that, reverse it.
In this review, I'll continually reference the older, better titles, not because change is bad in itself, but to see how they tackled the same problems correctly. I name dropped the open world, so we can start there. I have a well-organized list of complaints, so this is as good as any place to start. Yeah, the free roam sucks. A major reason why is there's no anchor point, no hub to explore or gather in. Any level select area is gone. Instead, players walk along boring, straightforward trails from point A to point B. You walk from one level to the next, maybe with an offshoot or two where you can ride vehicles or play as larger dinosaurs, but I'll come back to these later. Each movie has its own long, spindly path, and they're each as uninteresting as the last. Along the way, you'll be completing some puzzles to unlock the path forwards, maybe you'll find some park workers to save, or there may be a gold brick or two that helps you unlock more stuff. None of it is that interesting, and feels like generic fluff. While completing the story modes, we can't access most side objectives anyway, since we can't access our crew members with the necessary abilities. Compare the minutes you might spend trudging along here between set pieces to the seconds of walking from one room to the next in LEGO Star Wars. It's pointless filler for sure. At least by making progress and activating map markers, we're allowed to fast travel, which, unless you're trying to solve specific puzzles along the path, you will always do. Same goes with each level. Once it's been played, you can flip up the map to jump right into any chapter of any movie your heart desires. I'm not crediting a video game for including a fast travel mechanic, since it's more of a bandage to cover up the problem rather than an actual solution. If players are desperately fast traveling, doing their best to avoid engaging with the open world, then it simply means the world stinks.
You guys all think you're so much better than me.
Sometimes I'm also confused by what's selected for exploration and what's used in levels. Like the iconic first Brachiosaurus scene appears when going from one chapter to the next. The short segment at the raptor paddock where the protagonists don't really do anything, well, that takes up half a level. Not sure why I had to spend so much time setting up their beef lunch, but okay, I guess we're doing this now. Looking back at the LEGO games, LEGO Marvel put all of the main quest line in the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier, though it also followed the similar structure of many superhero games with side quests and random citizens to help across a butchered version of Manhattan. Freshman me had no confusion playing that one. Everything was well organized and familiar. The open New York sandbox contributed to the game rather than taking away. Not having a central hub area also makes it confusing when and where you can buy things. In the first LEGO Star Wars, we played in Dexter's Diner. For 2 and the complete saga, it was the Cantina in Mos Eisley. This makes sense since they're already businesses where people buy things. It's ingrained in our minds to shop at the bar. Then everything we can buy is in one place, so there's zero confusion. It's so obvious that LEGO perfected this the first go around.
Wow! What do you know?
Here in LEGO Jurassic World, characters can be bought from the character reel, but not always. Most of your playtime is either in levels or hiking through each film's world, neither of which allow you to buy people. So really you have to either leave your current adventure or wait until you finish it. All the exciting newcomers flashing across your screen as you complete that first level, well, good luck. You'll have to beat the whole movie before you can get them. Now, on occasion, you will find a random LEGO strolling around waiting to be purchased, but that's immense luck if you're dying for a particular character. A bad consequence of this is, well, the money feels meaningless. Yeah, I tried to unlock True Survivor for each level, but if I'm not allowed to buy things at the moment, then what point is there in having money? I guess there's also vehicles to purchase, yet with a few notable exceptions, the vast majority are uninteresting. Who's really out there salivating over the Nick Van Owen? A clone Arc Fighter? Heck yeah, that sounds awesome. But this? Same for many of those characters too. The world of the Jurassic series isn't as interesting as Star Wars. It's pretty much just our world, but with a few extra islands and businesses. Most people outside the main cast are lame. Who in Shrek's Green Swamp really wants Deirdre Bowman, Indian Veterinarian, or Scientist Phil? Do even the most die-hard of die-hard fans care? Compare them to the likes of Bosk, Ki-Adi-Mundi, or the Swamp Clone Trooper.
Now, this is epic.
Legacy of the Dark Knight is taking the LEGO formula in a new direction by having only 7 playable characters compared to the dozens and dozens of previous LEGO games. It's an interesting direction and I can see it working. It avoids having a bunch of pointless, useless characters or the struggle of desperately trying to figure out how to make someone useful. It's going to take place in an open world too, so I feel like it's going to be more in the style of LEGO Marvel, having that superhero formula of a Gotham to roam around, but also missions to complete. So hopefully the world is interesting. Going back, if you want to buy those extra upgrades or splice some dinosaurs, well, that happens at the JP Visitor Center. The Innovation Center allows splicing, character customization, and the ability to input cheat codes. Not gonna lie, making custom creatures is pretty cool. Custom characters, on the other hand, it's not like I'm making my own Sith or superheroes. They're just normal guys, so I'm not excited over it. Anyway, yeah, I'm not sure how a new player is supposed to know what shop is where. Why are they divided between locations? If they really wanted both, they could have just put everything in both locations. But nah, because TT Fusion hates me, I guess. It's frustrating when such an obvious solution to these problems is right there in front of the devs' faces. Make the visitor center a hub like the cantina where everything the player needs is accessible there. Levels, all in one place. Shops, all in one place. Customization, dino battles, bonus content, put it all here. Perhaps if Traveler's Tales had to make direct connections to the then new release, put it all in the Innovation Center, or even if they're feeling wild, scatter these things around Main Street. Along with proper signage to orient players, this could have worked too. But yeah, having a central hub location, and then maybe having some offshoots from there, would have been much better than a bunch of different trails that are largely uninteresting. Once us players enter into a level, maybe after a bland task or two, things don't get any better. These famous stories are told really badly. Let's get this out of the way now. The audio, probably the most immediately noticeable issue. Yeah, it's awful. Voices are plucked straight from the films and plopped into the game with a minuscule amount of caution. Although a few pieces of dialogue sound passable, most of it comes out super grainy, as if someone slid up that noise suppressor. Apart from already being from 90s movies, the lines are taken on top of music and sound effects in each scene, so that would actually make sense.
He suffers from a deplorable excess of personality, especially for a mathematician.
Chaotician, actually.
This is a hide. You know, you go up and you hide.
Actually, it put him in a very convenient fighting range.
That's what we're dealing with most of the time. It's so bad and so jarring and immediately pulls you out of the experience. In a video game, the developers also need a range of voice lines for all the situations players find themselves in. Like if there's a task one character needs to do in a particular scene or something. Ripping lines from the movies doesn't work here because simply there aren't enough clips to use to cover all of the gameplay moments. The movie dialogue is limited, which leads to irritating results. Some lines are repeated an annoying amount of times. Other times, dialogue will be cut from one movie scene and repurposed for a totally different moment in the game, completely changing the context of what is being said. It's so laughable when it happens. The devs did not stretch before making these reaches.
I can almost reach.
What Traveler's Tales should have done was either bring back the living actors or recast people from the original trilogy. I know it's sad not to have all the original actors return, but this has been done for other JW games. I'm sure there are plenty of actors out there looking for work. Hire some and help pay their rent for the month. In fact, all the smaller roles and some random background workers are voice acted. They all sound good, like I'm playing a video game and not listening to Jurassic Park through 20-year-old chewed up headphones. At least for Jurassic World, all the cast returns to lend their voices for extra lines. Even here though, some parts are reused from the 2015 film and still sound bad.
See that?
Can't wait to tell Mom! No! You cannot tell your mother about that ever!
Peter Stormare, the actor for Dieter Stark, also showed up to reprise his role, which could have been a huge win, except he's all but cut out of the Lost World missions. Actually, scrap all that. Bring back the Lego mumbles. It's not like we're delving deep into the story and themes anyway, so just make them mumble and do some creative visual storytelling to get the point across of what's happening. Simple as that. The music, too, could be better. Of course, John Williams' soundtracks for the first two installments are amazing. Jurassic World has some good stuff in there too, I'll be fair. Most of the time, it works. It's very hard to screw up John Williams, but life finds a way. In a few noticeable instances, the music didn't match at all with the level. While playing as Muldoon feeding the raptors, for God knows what reason, we hear the music from Hammond eating ice cream with Dr. Sattler.
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
One adjustment I did like was having the jungly percussive raptor attack music for the Stegosaurus boss fight in the Lost World. That worked surprisingly well. What also doesn't work with how the stories are presented here is their structures. Each film is only allowed 5 levels, which flops since so many iconic movie set pieces are either Frankenstein together or crudely divided in order to fit these moments. Too often, I found it odd where each chapter begins and ends. JP3 may be the worst offender in this, though each of the others do it too. The whole landing on Isla Sorna is wonky. We spend way too long on the airstrip. Instead, that should have been a cutscene, and I would have put the infamous Spino T-Rex battle as a climactic end to that first level. With the Velociraptors too, we spend an obnoxiously long time scouring through the engine lab rather than actually facing Velociraptors. The level ends with the male being trapped and having a chase with the females. Next, the whole second part of that chase is tacked on via cutscene to the next chapter, which is strangely dedicated to made-up adventures between Eric and Alan. If we need to have 5 levels, why not keep all the Velociraptor stuff together, cut the pointless Eric level, and then to make up for it, separate the Pteranodons and final Spino encounter? 2 epic set pieces that each deserve their own level that were unceremoniously glued together. Short, maybe 2-minute scenes are stretched further than Mr. Fantastic, while major moments that would normally constitute their own chapters are jammed together. Why can't we have a short and sweet end level with Spino similar to that Count Dooku boss in episode 2? I'm also confused by what turns into a cutscene versus what eats up much of the runtime. Eric saves Alan, entire level, we need to spend 20 minutes just on this. Spinosaurus attacks the group, nah, cutscene. Cutscene that's divided between 2 levels, mind you. I'm picking on JP3, but there's a lot of restructuring I would have done. You can tell though that the creators didn't know how to string each famous scene together into 5 distinct levels, so a lot of weird decisions were made in the writing room. So, the stories aren't well told, much of the pacing is way off, and the dialogue is often so bad it's distracting. How does LEGO JW play though? Is it still fun?
No.
Terrible pacing already zaps much of the fun out, but it's not helpful how most chapters across the series feel painfully formulaic. Players will run into an obstacle that one character can solve, that opens the path for others, and then another character has to solve the next obstacle. Yes, that's pretty much true of all LEGO games, but this entry does so little to keep things interesting. You can't help but feel the slog in every section. No puzzle requires more than a second of thought, so what we're accomplishing is easy yet time-consuming. It's tedious work. The repetition too becomes painfully noticeable when each and every story mission is required to be obnoxiously long. It feels like we're playing through the Junlin Wastes every time. This isn't fun, it's just exhausting.
I give her a concentrated dose. The mind can only take so much.
Combat is shaved down all the way to the nubbiest of nubs, so it's not like I'm having buttloads of fun cutting enemies down. LEGO games were never known for the most complex fighting mechanics, though still featured plenty of variety that made different characters exciting to play. Going back to LEGO Star Wars, my boy, the Jedi had a variety of attack. Time your attack correctly and you can get a special attack that hurts enemies even when they're blocking. Time your blocks correctly and it bounces lasers right back to enemies. So you had to put some thought, at least some strategy into what you were doing. You weren't just mindlessly mashing square. Here, yeah, all skill, all thought is gone, and there's barely anything to fight anyway. A couple of small carnivores every now and then with the rare human fight in 1 or 2 levels. Characters either punch, which accounts for the vast majority, shoot with the tranq gun, or shoot with the taser gun in Jurassic World. With such little variation, the combat is as stale as the level design. Boss battles are more of the same. The Lego humans take turns using their abilities to problem solve, build a few things with Lego bricks, and then control usually goes to a good guy dinosaur who gets in the big blows. Mostly it's still the same dang thing we've been doing this whole time, so even climactic sequences can't raise my heart rate above 50 BPM. We're also tormented with repeated segments of needing to heal sick dinos. Time and time again, you gotta smash and puzzle solve in the immediate area to find 3 different food items to cure the dinosaur. It throws off the pacing of each part it's in to the point where I'd rather just euthanize the poor animals. If it didn't bother you enough during the main campaign, the free roam presents 20 more of these scenarios. Have fun!
There's no reason for me to live! No reason at all!
Replaying this, rarely did I ever feel like I was enjoying myself. Back in 2015, I started to feel bad that my brother was playing with me, like I was torturing the poor man. I specifically remember the first JP being a disappointment. Then we were all like, well, The Lost World is more of a wild adventure safari movie. That should be fun. After even more disappointment, we pushed forward, coping. JP3 is basically 90 minutes of running from dinosaurs. How can they mess that up? Replaying this mess, I cracked one smile when playing as Zack and Gray with stun guns, zapping raptors as they gained on your truck. That was awesome. I wish we had more stuff like that. Another flaw that contributes to the monotony is how stupidly easy this game is. I get that it's rated E10, most ages should have access to it, but man, this is insulting. It seems like Lego JW was made specifically with the toddler demographic in mind. Player deaths rarely ever happen. I can probably count them on one hand, apart from the many glitches I suffered through. There's no block or dodge mechanic, so players are turned invincible during combat as long as they're mashing attack. Combat sections are few and far between anyway, so opportunities to die are slim. For any battle more intense than compies, they're handled through mashing a button, then usually 2 quick time events. Though saying quick here is a stretch, the timing is extremely generous. If somehow a tornado rips the controller out of your hand so that you can't mash, well, the meter slowly decreases. Once it reaches the bottom, nothing happens. The game simply waits for you to rummage through the rubble until you find your controller. Miss a button prompt, then you go back to the mashing. During the boss battles, players are given a health bar for the good guy dino, yet it's impossible for them to lose health because this is a game for babies. I should have passed the controller to Annalise. Even in simple tasks such as punching a key code into engine panels, they make you memorize an order of a devastating 3 buttons. Most of the time, though not always, they follow a simple ABA structure. In such a menial, low-stakes task, the developers were still scared of kids failing. For many dinosaur encounters across the 4 stories, well, we see loads of hungry carnivores. We should expect them to pose a grave threat, make a wrong move, and you're someone's lunch. Actually, this doesn't happen. If there's a hungry dino in your path, you are not physically allowed to go near it and die. Let me repeat that. You are physically not allowed to die. Your character will sneak back frightened.
But that's simply not possible.
Why isn't it possible?
It's just not.
Why not, you stupid bastard?
The feeling is inescapable that players are on rails like an amusement park ride. Go where the ride tells you to go. Look at the pretty views they want you to see. But this is not Jurassic Park, where the doors are unlocked. The moment you try to do something the devs didn't want you to do, you're slapped back into place.
You didn't say the magic word.
Please! God damn it!
Why is this, of all Lego games, so dumbed down? I'm not asking for a rage-inducing, Souls-like experience, but come on. A video game needs some kind of challenge to keep players invested. We feel like we're growing more skilled at the game over time, and depending on the title, our protagonist grows stronger as well. Games are so satisfying because we're overcoming challenges. Sure, I may have jumped up in frustration when Nemesis killed me repeatedly, but after reloading and rethinking my strategy, it's amazing to triumph over his rotting pile of goop. Finally tricking the Hunter Necromorph into the engine blast feels better than anything Mr. White can cook. Without any challenge, there's no fun, no sense of accomplishment. I simply continued the bland gameplay loop until the credits rolled. Consequently, the dinosaurs aren't intimidating, they're not frightening or anything, they're just obstacles to move past. These were action thriller movies, yet there's no thrill, just obstacles and puzzle solving. Like the Jurassic World films, the dinosaurs are neutered and feel a little too friendly. And man, how cool would it have been if we were given unique death animations for the different theropods, like we're torn apart in fun and unique ways. They're Legos. Take advantage of being Legos by having Sarah's head bitten off. But no, we can't have that because reasons. My heart isn't ready for that discussion yet. Let's get there later. Instead, we'll move from the story missions to the side missions. 1 or 2 will pop up for each installment. I didn't notice these until beating all the main quests, and I actually jumped up from my vegetative state. Side missions across Sorna and Nublar sounds like an awesome idea. Maybe we can play through some more iconic scenes, I thought. The Lost World sorely lacked a level where you take control of the engine capture team, or maybe we can play as the ACU troopers attempting to recapture the I-Rex. Even the original LEGO Star Wars had A New Hope, where we played as Darth Vader and a Stormtrooper. LEGO Marvel had plenty of fun side levels that saw encounters with famous Marvel villains who didn't make it into the main storyline, like the Lizard and Kingpin. So yeah, I was pretty hyped for more content until I played one. Oh god, these are the absolute laziest, most boring side missions I've ever seen in a video game. Whoever came up with these and decided to slap them on as extra content should be ashamed of themselves.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
Literally, these are just rehashes of the chases you experienced in the main story, except in these, you play as the dinosaurs. Sometimes you just play as the mean dino and chase the protagonist. Other times you're a different dinosaur running away, repeating a chase from the story, but as a dinosaur. I kid you not, these only last a literal minute. You spend a single minute chasing a vehicle, and those are your side missions. This is so sad. Us Jurassic Park and Dinosaur fans finally saw LEGO come around to one of our favorite franchises, only to give us this. The gameplay loop, as I established, is bland and repetitive, but let's throw confusing into the mix. The LEGO formula is built upon characters having unique abilities, then using those abilities to progress, except this time around, I wound up scratching my head since too often, we don't know what those abilities are. Now, they're displayed in the character selector / shop, though that's only available in free play. If I'm stuck in a level or that movie's exploration, then I'm out of luck. You might also get a glimpse at a tool on their belt, though you may not know exactly what that's for. While a lot is obvious, Roland carries a gun, Grant can dig fossils, employees access engine panels, yada yada, sometimes they feel randomly assigned. Every woman is suddenly a gymnast for some reason. That Y chromosome is really slowing us men down. Kelly, of course, that makes sense. Ellie, she sprints for one scene, but nothing outside of any mildly healthy person's capabilities. Then Amanda Kirby? What does Amanda do that's so athletic? When did Sarah become Spider-Man?
Work out, plenty of rest, you know, eat your green vegetables.
Alan, Lex, and Tim are each practically useless in a combat situation, so Lex throws baseballs in the same vein as projectile weapons hitting targets. Paul Kirby lassos handles like some sort of cowboy. Yeah, because that's what they do at Kirby Paint and Tile Plus. Put on a rodeo. Alan somehow uses his raptor claw to cut down plants and rope. Like, I get LEGO games are silly, they're cartoony. Things are stretched for the sake of the gameplay, which often add to the fun, goofy atmosphere. But we have to draw the line somewhere. A lot of these are ridiculous.
This is a load of barnacles.
It's also worth mentioning how unbalanced they feel. Many LEGO people feel useless, others are completely useless. Some are OP like Alan Grant with a plethora of utilities, while others are secretly useful but you wouldn't know it because of how underutilized they are. Despite his presence as a main character in the first JP, Ian doesn't get anything to do until The Lost World, where I bumped my head and exclaimed, wow, he isn't useless. Much of this comes down to bad tutorializing. If you're a sane person, then you'll likely play the series in chronological order, unless you're just dying to experience your favorite of the bunch, which for most is still the original. Playing through Jurassic Park, the game does such a bad job at showcasing what each character is capable of, or introducing abilities in natural, organic ways. Malcolm does jack diddly squat the whole time. In the sequel, we learn he can use a flare to illuminate dark spaces, except he uses a flare in the first movie! Another puzzle shows math rubbish on a board where players hit the mathy looking pictures in the correct sequence. Except this isn't present at all in the JP levels. You'd have no clue he had these abilities. Even in the entire Lost World story, you only see these like twice. Ellie shows off her newfound love of acrobatics in Montana, but we don't grow a plant until reaching the sick Triceratops. My fix would be to cut down on the number of specifics. Rather than a specific Ian Malcolm math problem, along with computers for Lex and weird hacking tools in Jurassic World, make a single panel puzzle for intelligent Legos, which can include Malcolm, Lex, Claire, Hammond, and so on. A little overlap isn't bad, we need that. Add something like a cash slot to open certain doors for the many millionaires we come across. Reduce Grant's abilities, take the knife away from him, then give it to Roland, Udesky, Cooper, and so on and so on. Of course, make only the actual athletic people do gymnastics. Take advantage of the abilities some guys already have so they can contribute something. What I'm getting at is a widespread rebalancing, because so much of this makes no sense, is brokenly good, or is brokenly bad. Alright, so the humans aren't fun to play in the free roam or most actual levels, but Jurassic Park was never about the humans, right? Us audiences want to watch dinosaur action and see dinosaurs eating people. That's the point of the movies.
So he's an idiot.
Yeah.
This is total nonsense. It's likable characters with interesting, clashing perspectives and character arcs that make the first two movies good. Only demanding more dino action leads to worse and worse movies that mimic the tone of Sharknado. I'm not here to police how people watch Jurassic Park, but yeah, this mindset has led to worse films. Anyway, I needed a transition. Let's turn our attention to the dinosaurs. They don't fare much better, being better off still in the ground. From a gameplay standpoint, we can divide them into two. Smaller species such as Velociraptor can be equipped just like any other LEGO figure. They're accessible throughout the free roam and during levels. Special mechanics are introduced too, so they can contribute to finding collectibles. Too bad the rest of the game isn't fun, but these are nice additions. Vanilla frosting on a nasty pineapple cake with coconut shavings. Coconut as a smell, top tier. Coconut as a flavor, low tier trash. Moving on to the medium and large dinos, which function the same, so that distinction doesn't matter. This is where LEGO JW continues to fumble. The real problem is, we're too restricted when playing with them. The game doesn't offer much to do as these bigger animals, so there's not much of a point in having them as playable Legos. We're not allowed to run around the maps as a T-Rex eating people or chasing down vehicles. This may be due to other god-awful reasons I'll get to soon, but all our playtime as these dinos is in small pockets of terrain that appear every so often in each of the maps. Ah yes, Jurassic Park, the movie known for dinosaurs breaking out of their enclosures and eating people, has a game adaptation where you're not allowed to break out of enclosures and eat people.
I have no words. Nothing.
Perhaps this wouldn't be so big of a problem if us players had something entertaining to do in these areas. However, all that's available are races where you mostly run around in circles, large obstacles to smash to unlock collectibles, and, in a few instances, critters to eat for a gold brick. Once your collectibles have been collected, there's no point in playing as them, no extra fun to be had, so players will complete the challenges, then be on their merry way. It's a checklist and nothing more. Heck, we even get to play in the Jurassic World Aviary and Mosasaur Lagoon back when it wasn't retconned to be attached to the ocean. The boring is even more terminal here since we're even more restricted with even less to do. If we're playing as Mesozoic reptiles, then these probably felt like obligations to Traveler's Tales, but such little care was put into making them.
No fun! Play with you, no fun!
Vehicles function similarly. You summon them on a designated pad. What can I say? They're vehicles. You do more crappy races as if you're fighting the Arkham Knight Riddler. Wow, 2015 was a truly sad year for gaming. Back to the dinosaurs, it was sad to see a lack of care for movie accuracy. We get the species, but not the right designs between films. Tyrannosaur skins make no sense here. The species sees only 2 versions, strangely both used for the same individual, nicknamed Rexy. We see no alt skins for the Lost World Doe or Buck, and nothing for the JP3 Spino punching bag. Each film shows cool new colorations, yet none of them are utilized, except the one time it really should be the same as the first movie. Dang, this is hurting my soul. Velociraptor sees a similar problem. It's repeat after repeat of the first film skin, aside from a totally botched attempt at creating Quillium, and of course the Raptor Squad, because those kids gotta love the new sidekick, Blue! No Tiger Raptors, no good male-female JP3 variants, no Brachiosaurus from 3 either, plus the Anki resembles more of the JW Dino. It's such a shame that such good designs are abandoned. Am I being obnoxiously pedantic? Maybe, but the game bends over backwards for fan service everywhere else, why not here? On a positive side, their amazing sound effects are still present. Also, while the Troodon model is an awful scaled down ornithomimid, the coloration resembles the one seen in Telltale's game. All of them play fine too, I just wish we had more to do with them. Though there are bright spots, playing as Mesozoic animals is often just as bland as the people, sometimes even more so. That's a real shame. Even Spinosaurus role-playing couldn't save this mess. I guess now it's finally time to talk about the most egregious decision in LEGO Jurassic World. Of course, it's the censorship. I want to start this part off with a little story though. Back in the day, my lifelong friend Brian, who's still a homie, well, we used to talk on the phone for hours. No cell phones, mind you, landlines. Some of you youths can't imagine this, but I had to stand in the kitchen for hours if I wanted to talk to my friend. It was a crazy world. Anyway, yeah, so one evening he calls me after beating LEGO Batman 3, ecstatic that in the end credits a random dino was shown roaring in the background, an obvious Easter egg for an upcoming LEGO Jurassic Park installment. The news felt too good to be true and I'll believe it when I see it type of thing. We already had suspicions after fighting raptors in a jungle in LEGO Marvel, yet these were unconfirmed. Well, in the June of 2015, the hype was real. Again, as a huge LEGO Star Wars fan, we were dying to get our grubby teenage hands on an adaptation of another favorite series. So release day rolls around. I'm studying for Regents exam, so I don't have time to buy it, but Brian does. I get another phone call. It's a disaster. The words pouring out of the phone, I don't want to believe, but they're too terrible to be made up. Nobody's creative enough to craft such a cruel joke. All the iconic death scenes across the trilogy, they're either removed or reworked so that nobody dies. It's so cringe watching a dino snack run off into the forest instead. When someone or something is eaten, a later cutscene will come up with some contrived bull honky for why they actually survived. No humans die, and no dinosaurs die either. That Gallimimus hunt? Well, the herbivores escape their pursuer. Instead, the Rex runs across the field carrying a rotisserie chicken in its mouth. Spino versus T-Rex? Nah, we spend so much time helping the tyrant, yet aren't allowed to see the result. All firearms are replaced with non-lethals. Shooting a dinosaur results in the day's stars popping up, indicating mere unconsciousness. That's right, Roland Tembo came to Isla Sorna to hunt a buck rex with a tranq gun. Try attacking park guests as a smaller, free-roaming dino, and nothing happens. Sure, you can briefly knock them over by running into them, but dinosaurs cannot eat tourists. Maybe in Pirates of the Caribbean. Guys, I hate to point out the obvious, but this title's called Lego Jurassic World. We're playing as Legos, little toy building blocks you take apart and put together. Naturally, you expect
Every now and then I fall apart.
Great. Then it's a Lego game about Jurassic World and the Jurassic Park trilogy, a franchise known for dinosaurs eating people. So if you make a game about a franchise where dinos famously kill people along with each other, you would expect death. Wow, crazy concept, I know. You gotta talk to these creators like their brains are far from developed because this decision making is horrendous. If you want to make a game without dying or killing, then why in Shrek Swamp did you choose to do Jurassic Park? You morons, you absolute morons.
Stories of mutilation and death. Weren't you paying attention?
Now that I think of it, why now? Why is this game censored to death when so many other Lego games got it right? Star Wars, for instance, is a series with war. Many characters are killed. Dismemberment is commonplace from the peaceful, humane Jedi. This fits perfectly with Lego. Enemies fall apart when vanquished, like Legos. When someone in the story loses their limbs, their Lego counterpart is severed. It's funny, true to the story, and makes good use of the toys they're trying to sell. However, when a major character dies, it's still treated as a loss. There's not much dialogue, cutscenes are super brief, but emotion is still conveyed. Violence can be played for laughs or be played seriously depending on when appropriate. Indiana Jones is a trilogy with lots of shooting, so different guns are incorporated in the gameplay mechanics. Previous entries have handled killing and dismemberment before with far better results. Why isn't it allowed here? That's a rhetorical question. I've been unable to find any answers online aside from keeping it child-friendly, except we're adapting the movie with this scene.
Oh, Mr. Arnold.
Allosaurus had never seen such bullshit before.
My viewers are smart, right? Do I need to explain why censoring death from children's content is a bad idea? Well, I'll do it anyway in case any Karens are watching. Death is a present force in many kids' movies or family movies that kids can also enjoy. Many characters across film have experienced a loved one dying. We see the impacts on people's lives and how it changes them. As sad as it is, death is a fact of life. Everyone dies at some point, so it's better to expose them to it. Many of us have that childhood classic we were traumatized by, but unless it's for comedic purposes, death has a point, forcing characters to adapt, but often serving the themes and ideas of the film. Jurassic Park itself would be totally toothless without visitors being eaten. If nobody dies, then nobody learned their lesson. Then we haven't seen the consequences of our hubris employing cutting-edge science to attempt control of nature or any other force beyond our understanding. If no one dies, then who cares? Seems good to me. I'm surprised the censorship hasn't caused more of an uproar in the Paleo and Jurassic communities. I guess the lack of presence for this game prevented it from sparking online discussion, though in my opinion, it really should have. Sorry if I come across as too much of a boomer, but I think they have a point. Our society has become too coddling, too bubble-wrapped and PC. We're not allowed to challenge kids or show any dying Legos.
And also, what the heck, dude?
I've reviewed bad games before. While I loathe BioShock Infinite with a burning passion, Arkham Knight annoyed me to no end, Lego Jurassic World actively makes me question the direction our society is headed in. That's how absolutely horrible, stupid, and quite frankly, disgusting this decision was. Brian, I'm sorry this is what you got. You're an awesome friend, and you deserved better than this. I wish I can go back in time to protect you from the disappointment that was LEGO JW, but let's be honest, you would have played it regardless of my warnings. Going back to the upcoming LEGO Batman, well honestly, this is a good case where there shouldn't be killing because Batman has a clear no-kill rule. This isn't Jurassic Park where, let's be frank, people need to die. Though I am a little concerned about how they'll treat Talia and Gordon with his foam gun, cause they don't have the same rule. They should be nuanced with some characters killing and some characters not, but I just assume that there's going to be no killing all around. But maybe they can get away with that, because despite using scenes and costumes across the famous Batman movies, from what I understand, they are still telling an original story, so they don't need to kill off Harvey Dent or something. They have the creative liberty to not have people die and make it not noticeable. Is LEGO JW the worst video game I've ever played? No, not even close. Us audiences still experience some of that LEGO charm. Most jokes don't land, there's certainly quantity over quality, but the ones that did get a few good laughs out of me. The memeable moments are played up in fun acknowledgements of the series' history.
Alan.
Dr. Grant.
Jurassic fans will also get a kick out of all the fan service crammed in here. Can't lie, I cracked a smile seeing the Jaws characters make an appearance. As I mentioned before, the soundtrack is still as iconic as ever, even if it is sometimes used in weird ways. The visuals hold up 10 years later, though in all fairness, graphics haven't improved that much since the last generation. There's at least some stuff to appreciate, but I must admit, as much as 16-year-old me was dying for its release, maybe LEGO JW wasn't a good idea to begin with.
What? He says it's a bad idea!
Please, before you angrily type, hear me out. Jurassic Park is a far different franchise than the previous IPs tackled by LEGO. Yes, Jurassic is a popular, highly profitable brand, but these plots don't lend themselves to a video game style adaptation. Hence why we've had more park builders and narratives about other survivors of Nublar, rather than straight up adaptations of the on-screen stories. Here, most of our main characters are scientists, or businessmen, or kids, so there's limited potential for special abilities, meaning it was doomed to be nonsensical from the start. Then there's the combat. We ain't dealing with Jedi, bounty hunters, or literal soldiers here, so the encounters are bare bones. Similarly, there's nothing really to fight. No enemy soldiers, very few goons, mostly a smattering of compies every now and then. Without much combat, we're missing so much of the fun. A huge chunk of the LEGO gameplay is gone. Level structures are wonky since, well, thinking about the films they're based on, yeah, we only get a few large-scale, longer sequences that could constitute an entire level. The JP movies are full of shorter, though still exciting set pieces, so Traveler's Tales either had to drag these out or hodgepodge them together, leading to some awful pacing. Some cool parts are left as cutscenes, some are left in the free roam, some are too long, some are cut out entirely. All of these outcomes left me unfulfilled as a lifelong JP fan, with a ton of great moments handled terribly. Also, a bunch of memorable scenes see characters merely surviving or running away from a dino attack, which limits the potential for boss battles, and leads to several repetitive, highly on-rails chase segments. Compare this to Indiana Jones, a trilogy with many high-energy fights and boss battles to easily translate into a game. Finally, of course, if you as a game developer have actively made the decision to not include killing or death in your future release, then don't choose the series famous for its killing and death.
Sometimes my genius it's almost frightening.
So while LEGO JW was such an exciting idea, a dream come true really for my teenage self, in hindsight, Jurassic Park was not a good IP to adapt. If developers were set on a straight up adaptation of these stories, the execution needed to be phenomenal, which it clearly wasn't. In all honesty, it was a bad idea from the start.
That's a very bad idea!
Hopefully, Traveler's Tales can learn from the mistakes of the past to give Batman the awesome installment he deserves. Those are all my thoughts on LEGO Jurassic World. I hoped it'd be more fun than my first go around, but no, it was worse. A tricky concept to pull off met with awful execution. If I had to guess, this is why it never gained much traction and fell off as soon as it arrived. What do you guys at home think? Am I correct in my assessment that this title had a quick fade into obscurity? What are your thoughts on LEGO JW itself? Was this the game you wanted, or were you just as disappointed as I was? Was the censorship a dumb idea or a terrible idea? Go down to the comments. Make the much needed conversation that never took place. Heck, create your own response video. But like always, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and to check out my social media. See you next time.